stuff. I don't know if you guys can hear me very well on the camera, but I know here at RCHQ they can. So. Let's see.
Let's check. Let's make sure.
Alright, so you're live.
Oh, we're live.
On RCHQ?
Yep, live on RCHQ on Facebook. And let me check the YouTube.
I'm not seeing it.
No, it took it a second to load for me.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. Q. So, cool.
Yep. Yep. We're live on both.
Cool. All right. What's up, guys? My name is Alex Soto. Pagan. Whatever. Soto's fine. I'm here at RCHQ, my home track. Shout out to RCHQ for giving me this clinic to be able to show you guys what I run and all that good stuff. I do run with Marka tires, RTRC, 3D cap, and of course, my first and most important sponsor, RCHQ. So shout out to all my sponsors out there and all my supporters that have supported me throughout my 2023 season and from the get-go. Except Kemper, of course. I'm just kidding. Especially to Kemper, Paul, and Brian. They've traveled a ton with me to a ton of races, actually, and have kind of molded me to where I am right now. So shout out to those three guys for sure. And of course, Grant. Grant was my first sensei that I ever had, so shout out to Grant. Anyways, so we'll start off and.
Ask if everybody can hear you.
Yeah, if everybody can hear me, post something on the live feed, please. Whether it's a thumbs up or a thumbs down, really doesn't matter.
Cody and Elcho said hi.
Who?
Cody, Cobb, and Elcho.
Oh,
Boss.
What's up, boss? Appreciate you guys tuning in.
Boss.
Boss. Let me know if you
Cody
can
said
hear
thumbs
me.
up.
Okay, good. Yes. Okay. So, I guess I'll start off kind of with my super stock car. I've been kind of testing this out a lot more than I usually do since Worlds, just for the fact that I placed better in this class than I did in any other class. So, it's a RTA 1.2 with a hobby wing and a PM 2500. I am running a gear diff at +3 wheels as of right now, and RTRC +1 without this, just fluid. Super simple setup. I was on green springs earlier, and I'm going to try red springs because we're doing a test and tune here at RCHQ like we do every week, and I mean, come on back. And white springs in the rear, and then I went to full white on white on the top disc dampener, and I don't get a bottom disc or spring. And that seemed to be like a very big shock to most of the RTRC guys. And what I found was that it just gave me more of a corner entry speed and a little smoother coming out of it as well, and maybe even like just digging in rather than having that friction at the bottom where I had to be a little more aggressive in my driving, which I already did. So that's the first look on that. Super stock. Next is going to be my two-wheel drive mod and whatever was set up that I've currently been testing with 11mm fronts and 14 rears. As most of you guys know, I normally run +2 rears, 11s, and +1 RTRC in-house, 19mm. On this car, I am running a brass chassis with weights and a aluminum rear pod. And I am running an unusual setup, which is red front springs and red rear pivot springs with yellow top and stock small rebound spring. And of course, no bottom disc as well on this one. This is a weird feeling setup car because I normally run very stiff in the front, which is normally blue, and in green rears. But yeah, that's my mod. And then I have another one here that doesn't have the top dampener, so you guys can kind of sort of see where I set up my ESC. Since I am running hobby wing in all of them, I have to decase every single one to make it fit in the back. But this is kind of how I just run it.
I don't know if that's close enough.
No, that's good. Yeah.
In just about all my cars, I run the Marka 450 batteries. Shout out to Marka. And yeah, that's kind of the base setup of it. I cleaned it up at Worlds. I kind of ran the DSC here, and it did look ugly, but it kind of good work. So it works out. So those are the base of my cars and what I run. So I guess we'll go ahead and get into like the questions and then maybe some more details on other stuff. Go from there.
Andrew said, "What up, Soto?"
What's up, Big A? Good to see you. I need to go back out there along you and race with you guys. Cool. We got any questions in house that anybody wants to ask? Ethan, you got any questions?
I'm gonna ask the same one.
Yeah.
Was your setup different from the Worlds than like your average club race setup, or?
So was my setup different from Worlds to average club setup? No, actually I kept the same setup that I normally have since the beginning of the car. Since I got it, which was 3 springs up front, green in the rear or white in the rear, and kind of just ran with it and trying to do. I just try to keep a clean line, but I neglected tires, so Worlds is a different story for sure. But no, it was the same. I'm just now starting to play with springs in the front and the back with the red, softer springs.
What's your tire strategy?
Tire strategy. That's something I like tremendously. So for World or club racing? Both. Okay, so for Worlds, I probably went through 30 sets of rears. 11 millimeters, just because I wanted to make sure that wasn't going to be an issue, and I wanted to keep that consistent. So thankfully, Marka sent me a whole bunch of tires, and I was able to do that. I run 15s in the back normally, and firms in the front.
11 mil, 14.
11 in the back, and then 8.5 in the front, normally. And as earlier, I'm testing out 14 and 11. So, but the strategy was just to kind of have a fresh pack or a fresh set of rears the whole time, and kind of just run in those fronts because the grip was coming up progressively throughout the whole week, which I misjudged the traction coming up in all my mains because I was rolling in every single one. But I just try to keep the same set of fronts and just worry about my rears. That was a Chris Kemper question. So, I lost it. So if I can change my name to Alex Soto, will it drive us good? I don't know if you want to do that. Don't want to do me. How do you decide brass chassis, brass motor pod, or aluminum with weights of the mix? Great question, Brian. For me, I think it's just depending on your driving style. So I'm a very front-end aggressive driver, and I'm just trying to now learn how to get rotation out of the rear of the car. But because I am an aggressive driver, I want the most weight as I possibly can have on the car, so I can kind of keep it on the ground as much as possible. For super stock, I keep it as light as I possibly can, which our super stock cars still come in at like 170 something grams, which is still on the higher end side for super stock. And my mod at Worlds was weighing in at like 209. So it really just depends on your driving style personally and how aggressive you want to get with the front tire. Now, does aluminum chassis and aluminum rear pod work in mod? Yes. Thomas used it at Worlds. He did pretty good with it. I've tried it once. It just doesn't fit my driving style. What I have noticed is that if you put a brass rear end on, it normally gives you a little more entry, even though it does add more weight. But that's just on our car. I don't know about any other car or how it works, but on our car, it normally gives you a little more entry and more stability once you put that rear pod on. I've never tried just rear brass pod and aluminum chassis, but that's maybe something I should look forward to. But deciding that factor is just depending on your driving style, honestly. At least my personal opinion on that. Do you ever get nervous on the driver's stand and twerk all the time, Paul? I twerk all the time, especially at Worlds. I think Worlds was probably the worst I've been in a very long time in Q1 of both my two-wheel drive mod and pan. I was looking like Brian Paul. I was looking like Brian Paul. Shout out to Brian Paul, because he's a twerker up there. No, yeah, definitely. I definitely do get nervous still till this end. I think most people probably do. I think it's just a competitiveness of who's around you and you trying to win and still have a good time, but then you still have that nervousness that comes with the sport, which isn't a bad idea or a bad thing. It's normal. I personally think it's normal. If you can get it under control, it just makes you a better driver. And that's the way I've kind of looked at it. So, yeah, definitely. I still twerk for sure. Do you use anti-roll bar on the RTA? I do. I use on all of my RTAs. I use the anti-roll bar, and I use the blue sway bar on all 6 of my cars. I think I have 6. I've tested with and without. Actually, just yesterday or the other day, I tested with and without, and I firmly believe that with the sway bar, you get more of a corner speed with it than without. I'm not saying that you need it, but for my driving, again, since I am aggressive, I like the anti-roll bar feeling, and it just helps with more. If you can get it right, which is a pain in the butt, we all know that. If you can get it right, it really helps with the tweak of the car as well. What's next? That was Boss, by the way, and Paul, thanks for that question as well about twerking. Jonathan, how do you personally learn to drive a new track layout? I normally try to put my super stock out first. I get a slower car out there first and try to just go about 50 to 75% of what I personally can do. And from there, once I kind of memorize the layout of where left and right is, I get progressively faster and faster in my own way. You know, whether it's being more aggressive on the turn or if I took out endpoint on throttle, add it back on. And just putting laps in. Honestly, that's the best thing I can say is put laps in, and you'll definitely get that layout down.
I have a question.
Big A, if you ain't twerking, are you even having fun? That's very true. You do have a point. What's up, Ethan?
What are your travel program going to be looking like next year in the 2024 season?
Travel program for 2024 season. Oh, I traveled so much in 2023. I don't even know if I want it in 2024.
There you are.
2024, we're definitely going to Worlds in France. Definitely doing that. It's going to be in November. Prior to that, we have a big race at RCHQ, the 128 Nats January. So I'm kind of lucky and have home track advantage on that. So we'll be here on that race. And I believe John Dixon's doing a big race at Iron City Hobbies in Pennsylvania. That's definitely somewhere we're going to plan on going to. Probably, even though I say this every year, I'll probably be in Colorado again. Colorado, I'll be, before the year ends in December 2nd, I'll be in PA at Parkland Hobbies. Really just going to try to train as much as possible on different tracks, just to have different setups and different feeling of each track. So that's the plan for 2024.
You'll be in Park Lane this coming weekend?
I will be in Park Lane this coming up weekend.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Chris, oh yeah. Oh, Utah. Duh, I forgot. In March. Shout out to Salt Lake Mini City, Clayton, and the 128 RM. I know, sorry, Corey, I don't remember the name. But they're holding a race in March in Utah. I'll be there as well for that one. I have like 5-6 out of town races. I think every month last year I raced. So there goes that.
Speed up. I'll put it in the chat.
Oh, okay. Chris is gonna ask questions in chat. Linda, you got any questions for me?
Oh. I know. I'm such a newbie. I don't know. Is there anything that you can share for somebody starting out? Like how you started off in box stock,
I did, yeah.
and then it's been a little over 2 years.
Yeah, a little over 2 years now. Yep.
So what would you suggest to somebody who's just starting out on how to progress from box stock to where you are?
Get a car that your local hobby store can supply you parts with. That's where I started with. So box stock 2.5 years ago was probably the most popular class here in RCHQ. So I started with a white Audi R8. Doug helped me, actually, Doug and Fern. First time out here, Doug did my pinion. Philip Carter, shout out to McCool. He did my tires. take them for me. Go and just have fun at first. Like, yeah, everybody gets competitive. I think in this industry, which it's like looked frowned upon, which is not. I don't think it's a good thing. But definitely go have fun at first, and don't think that you're going to be the greatest person out there. I always tell people just start with box stock. Box stock's probably I still have my own. It's the funnest class out there, and it's a class that every racetrack or hobby store that does 128 scale or mini seat is gonna have. So if you can learn from that experience of what you did in box stock and kind of clean up your lines, know when to throttle, when to brake, what each tire does with your box stock, then you can get that knowledge and implement it into stock touring, super stock, mod, and all that stuff. And that's what I did. I ran box stock for like 5 days a week when I first started. I was here all the time.
You're still here all the time.
And I'm still here all the time. Yeah, I probably spend 30 hours here at least a week. Yeah, so if you're new, just get with a hobby shop that supports the brand that they're using, because then you'll get local support, and that's what I do. Good question. What's next?
Let's see. Bigger venue.
Working on getting a bigger venue. Oh yeah, telling about our early days in box stock. Oh yeah,
Our very first race.
So me and Paul had a race where he came in and Philip let him borrow his LM car, and he was on a 7-tooth pinion, and I had a broken leg, and I think it came down to the last corner, and I just like bombed it right into that corner on the last lap and beat him. It was so close. But he was so mad as a crippled guy beat him, and it was great. And till this day, we joke about it. So me and Paul have been racing together for a while since the box stock days. We did box stock together, we did stock touring together, we did super stock together, and now we're doing mod. So shout out to Paul. That was definitely a fun time. How many hours do you think you spent practicing? Too many, Robbie. Way too many hours. I should have a what is it, a W-9 or something be sent to me with how many hours I've spent here. I probably spend more time here than I do at home. During mini seat week, yeah, I definitely do. And like I was telling my teammates from France and everybody, I probably spend literally 30 hours a year during a mini seat week. Whether it's 5 hours a day or 10 hours a day. We were here for 12 hours yesterday, and I was here wrenching and practicing the whole time. So yeah, I definitely spent too many times. Chris was gonna ask. Speedo settings. Okay, speedo settings are probably one of the most important parts of mod. I personally think, especially when you're starting out. I use Hobby Wing, and I use the stock settings in my Hobby Wing. So it comes with like 20 turbo or boost, whatever it is, and all I do is turn up the brake power to 75%, and I leave everything else box stock. I don't change anything on my Hobby Wing. I just play with pinion, and I use a 5,000 kV motor, and I normally use a 4,500 kV as well. But speedo settings, I keep it stock when it comes to mod. Super stock, that's a whole different story. You want to get I just dropped everything. You want to get as much speed out of it as possible, so you put boost and turbo, and mess with your drive frequency and all that stuff. So that's a whole different story, which y'all should definitely hit up the champ and the reflex team for that, because they're fast. Maldonado killed it, Ethan Miller killed it, EJC killed it. Those are the guys that are good at super stock. I just got lucky. So.
Speaking of EJC.
Oh, hey EJC. Speaking of you, hello. I'll see you in the week.
Liebert, do you have any questions for Alex? Yes, you do.
Yeah, you do.
Come on.
I tried so hard.
Tell us what about your radio? What radio do you use?
Oh, my radio. So I started off with a Nova NB4 back in the day when I first started, and I am now using an N17. Why did I move to this? I don't know. I just kind of wanted to try it. I hung out with Kemper too long, and they told me to try it, and I really felt comfortable with it. It feels really balanced for me. But I think the Noble NB4 and the Pro is probably the best radio to start off with, just for the fact that it's cheaper and it's very mini-Z friendly. And like you can put your MR03 on there and use it if your club lets you, or like your Evo. And normally the MB4 comes like with a small little receivers for the Evo cards, which is really great for starting out. So definitely look into the MB4, and then if you want to get rowdy and get super fast and all that good stuff, the Sandwall works. Futapa is really good. They just came out with a new 10PX something, and it's super fancy and expensive. But honestly, it's whatever you're comfortable with, and that's what I'm currently comfortable with the Sandwall. So shout out to Sandwall. Thank you. Please reveal all the secrets. I don't have any. I don't. Honestly, racing people that are faster than you is probably my biggest secret. My biggest secret is racing people that are a lot faster than me and trying to either stay consistent or stay ahead of them or somehow gain speed to be on the same level as them. That's the best way. That is my biggest secret. Is that I try to race everybody that is faster. It's a good competition and a good way to visualize and see where you at in, like, I don't want to say rankings, but in your progressive of your driving, and it just helps out. Definitely helps out for sure. What? Oh, it's expensive, obviously. Oh, thank you. Yes, it is. What classes are you planning on running in France? In France, oh, this is one of my secrets. I am planning on running mod, pan, and all-wheel drive open. We might come out with something. This person over here might come out with something for the 2024 season, which I'm hoping to get something in the beginning of the 2024 season to help out production. And that's the plan. Yeah, that's definitely the plan. That's a good question. It definitely is. What's the BZ4 coming out? I don't know when it's coming out. Lee Mori, let me know. BZ4. Apparently they're coming out with a new all-wheel drive atomic. So yeah, that's gonna be. I think that's gonna be a really good car. The Atomic BZ4, I think it's gonna be a really good car. Let's see how do I fit the bigger batteries on the RTA? Okay, so bigger batteries on the RTA. I use the A11 Servo, which is the bigger one, right? And then you have the A06, which is a smaller one. So on my RTA, I shim it so I can bring the servo up so it can fit the 450. And as you can tell, it's kind of crooked, but it fits it. And that's how I make mine fit. Now, if you don't have the shims in there, I think it's like a 0.5, you will not be able to fit 450. I'm not saying it's easy to put on, but it will fit. So that's what I do to put it on, and then I flip my battery little thingies the other way. So that way, this is normally like towards the inside, so it holds the battery. I flip it so it's outside, so it has more of that length. So this isn't hitting the battery. So that's how I do that. Pip, oh, shout out to 3D Cap and my sponsors as well. Pip, Algades, thank you. Hey Alex, when use millimeter 14, what's the feeling about as well as so 1411s, when do you want to use it? I felt like I lacked a lot of corner entry with my 11mm rear +1 front on the RTA during the Worlds, and I wanted to kind of just test out the whole idea of running this, because in my GLR, when I was running GLR, I was running the same setup. And for me, I think a good time to run is when you think you're lacking corner speed. This setup, 14 and 11s. If you don't think you're lacking corner speed and you have maybe too much corner speed or you're traction rolling, I suggest you don't go to it. Just for the fact that in our car, on the RTA, I noticed that it gains steering compared to in some other cars where I felt that it makes a push. So I think like on a very sweeping type of track, you definitely want to try to go to 1411s because that'll help you carry that corner speed that you're looking for. Like the reflex, they dominate. in corner speed, and we need that. So that's when I suggest you should go to that.
Did we answer this question?
As traction comes way up, Ebert, what you use as traction comes way up, do you go firmer or softer or stay the same but drive safer? So I'm a little different because I normally use our RTRC front wheels that you can put disc on, and I normally stay on firms. And then if I feel like traction's coming up and that I'm going to start traction rolling or I am traction rolling, I will go ahead and go up on the disc. So the smaller the number, the bigger the disc is. So for example, I'll show you here. Shout out to Lamont right here. So of course our seat mini RC planner. These are the number one discs that we use, which is the biggest one that comes in the kit for a 19 millimeter or a 20. And I'll normally start off with a full height tire, put these on and break them in like that. And if traction's coming up and I don't feel like changing the characteristic of the car, of how it feels going into the corner, and I feel like it's going to traction roll, then I'll just stay on the number one disc. Or let's say I went down to a 3 and now traction came up, I'll go up to a 2. Now, if you're not using these, I'm a firm believer that the softer you go, the less steering you get. So let's just say you're on mediums and you're on like KSM or KS or whatever it is. I will go to a soft, and I think it'll generate less grip personally. But everybody has a different experience on that. That's just my 2 cents.
Right.
Well, we got
You answered Pepe, right?
Yes, I answered
Okay.
Pepe. RTRC come in, we get 4x4. Yes, rumors are we are coming out with an all-wheel drive. It is in a prototype phase. When is it coming out? I'm not sure, but I'm hoping for Worlds in 2024 we will have a full production, full-wheel drive car. So that's my secret. That's my second secret that I have. Can you tell us more about RTRC and why you drive for them? RTRC. So RTRC is a French brand, France. The owner of the company, his name's Thomas Robin, and he's a very small company, makes his own stuff, right? Engineers it, stuff like that, just like most manufacturers. And I think I went with him for the fact that the team and Thomas himself were very genuine about the beliefs of what they wanted for the hobby, not necessarily for the product. So when I told them my beliefs in the hobby of wanting to help everybody no matter what brand they drove, they kind of agreed, they did agree with the fact that it should be about the whole community and not just our stuff. And that intrigued me the most about RTRC. And like Thomas says, we're cool. You know, we're a bunch of younger guys and we just like to RC race and have adult beverages and hang out. And I think we kind of resonate from each other. He takes ideas from me and I take ideas from him, and we're able to work together on that aspect of things rather than like, oh no, that won't work. We just kind of just try it and see if it does work, and then we keep feedback back. And hey, it didn't work for me, or it didn't work for me, and that's really the main reason. They agree with my values of what I think 128 scale should be, and he agreed with mine. So that's the main reason why I went with RTRC. Will the RTRC all-wheel drive be shaft or belt driven? Ooh, that's a good question. It more than likely is or will be belt driven. But that's all I know for that. That's the last question about that. When you, that was big A. Pepe is when you decide to change tires. When to get new fresh tires. Oh, okay, Pepe. When do I just, so for me, when I run the RTRC wheels, if I go to a disc that's like a number 6, which is kind of like really small, that's when I'm going to decide to change out the tires. That's when I feel like my driving needs a bigger tire to get more traction. So I'll show you a number 1 disc and then a number 6 or 7. 7. I'll show you a 7. Millimeter wise, I don't know what the difference is, but here's the difference on on how big and small. So number 1 and then number 7. When I get to around the number 7 is normally when I like to change out my tire. But that's just me.
Drives up.
Not everybody's the same. Okay.
Take my shit.
Yep. So good question. I think.
That's Alex's turn.
I don't see any new questions yet.
Anything else? Anybody else have questions? Sorry, I'm not good at clinic stuff. First one. Oh, I do use a ball dip. I use either PN or RTRC ball dips on all my cars. When it comes to modern pan, I just do that too. Other than my super stock, I do use the PN gear dip that's covered. What is that? V3, V2? Anybody know? That gear dip? That one's a V2?
What's our gear dips? The V3s?
V3. That's what I use in super stock. But on my mod, I just use ball dip. That's just what I like. I like the feeling it gives me. It's a little safer for me. Is it as fast? Probably not, no. But it just helps with consistency in my driving style. Anybody else?
Ronnie just got here. See if he has a question.
Ronnie, you got any questions for me, sir? We're live on Facebook. Ronnie Payne's
And
here.
YouTube.
Oh, and YouTube. Best tacos in San Antonio. Personally, I like Eric's Tacos. That's just me. It's off of
Pete's Taco House downtown.
Pete's Taco House down. Nobody wants to go downtown. What's wrong with you? You're in San Antonio. You're in San Antonio, man.
That's my cousin's spot.
Oh, your cousin used to move this spot. Eric's Tacos off of I think Taco One.
Chico's West.
Oh, I've never been there.
Yeah, it's super fun.
You gotta go to Orlando's Super Tacos.
Pepe.
Now we only have to order one.
And for the rear tires, I know Marka is a very good tire. If we are using radials, what's your opinion about changing them? The texture starts to disappear. So it depends on your track. Our track's very unique. Very unique. And if you were here for Worlds, you know it's very unique. There's a word out there that I want to use for it, but I'm just not going to mention it. It's very different. Our track here, our RC2 is very different. I've had times where the radial itself from the Marka tire is gone. Right, this one still has some in there. So, like for instance, earlier I was using these, and they felt okay. They weren't terrible, but on our track, once it goes bald, I normally put in a new set of tires. And because I am an aggressive driver, this will last me, the 14s will last me maybe 3 packs, and then I'll change it. But that's because I'm doing like 90 laps, right? I'm doing 80 to 90 laps a pack because I use a Marka 450. So, or tire, battery. So that's when I change out. Even for my 11 millimeters, I do the same thing. Once the radio kind of starts balding, I just kind of use it.
Low pro.
Does your bald disc slip a lot? How do you tune the tension of your bald disc? EJC, good question. My bald disc does slip a lot. And the reason I have it slip a ton and it's very loud is because I'm an on throttle, off throttle driver. Or on throttle, brake, throttle. Very bad about doing this on my finger, and I'm very bad about doing this.
I'm still
compared to other people that can do that. And that's just how I've trained myself to drive. Now, whenever I do set tension on the ball diff itself, I like to have everything on first, and I have just a little bit of movement left and right on my ball diff. And what I've realized is that if it's very tight, you have no movement left and right, it acts very weird. It doesn't want to kind of track straight. And that's been my experience in this light. I'm going to knock it off, I swear. So what I do is kind of put everything together and I tighten it until I feel like it's too tight or too greedy. So I like to hold my pinion and kind of move it. And I like to keep it to where it's smooth and not grimy. And then I kind of just feel it by holding the spur itself and moving its outside tire. And mainly I tune it on the track, just depending on how the car feels. If it feels like it's just not going or if it's rotating too much, I kind of just tune it on there. I don't do much of any tuning on the table just because I could set it one time to do something and it might feel good, and another time I'll set it differently. It all depends on the plates and the balls you use and what ball you use. Thanks, JC. I appreciate you.
What about bodies? What's your favorite body? What bodies do you use?
Favorite body? That's a good question. We call this DS. This is probably my favorite body out there. Shout out to Chris Kemper for the name.
Don't tell them the real name.
My favorite two-wheel drive body right now is the C4 from Marka. Great body. I think it's very balanced. I use it at Worlds. Obviously, I didn't finish well, but I got third whenever qualifying with this body. This is currently my favorite body thus far. And also the McLaren P1, which I don't know where I put it. Oh my god. McLaren P1 as well from Marka. I use that one a lot and it's really good. The Bugatti from Marka is really good. I have a lot of fun. This is my all-time favorite for sure.
What about pan car body?
Yeah.
Pan car body, the Marka AMR is the best body. I'm just kidding. Marka body is really good. I love that body, but shout out to Joe Chen with Brand Body. His skillet pan car is that's a whole other level body right there. It's really good if you can fit it on your car. Try it out, test it out. Shout out Joe Chen from Brand Body. You guys are awesome. I hate you. How often should you rebuild your ball deck? How often do you change parts like plates, balls? No, we're not putting a gear in it. What type of balls do you use? I rebuild my ball decks after every practice session or race day. And I try to use the plates and the balls for about three rebuilds. And then I swap out everything new. And I use the PN, I don't know which one. Where's Grant? Grant, what are those? PN something. The PN, whatever they are.
Ceramics?
Yeah, the PN ceramics, thank you. I use the PN ceramics and the PN plates.
Does he not forget about
That's what I use. So yeah, I try to get a full day of practice or racing on my ball dip, and then rebuild it for the next time I'm out. And then after about 4 times, I like to inspect the plates, inspect the balls, make sure they're good. If not, then I just replace everything, including the bearings. You got to make sure you change out that bearings. What is the best situation to ball diff and gear diff? That's a terrible question for me, Andrew. I don't know, because I've been stuck on a ball diff for a long time. Man, I think in high bite it's really good to use a gear diff because it is high bite. As long as your car and your setup fits that gear diff. For low traction, I think ball diff's better. Personally, I'm gonna go with that. I think that's good. What's the fastest you've ever gone on a motorcycle? Robbie, it's about 200 plus. I hope the police ain't watching. They're here. Here they come.
All 6 kilometers or miles?
Miles per hour, not kilometers. Yep, about 200 back in my 100 days. But I'm a family man now, so no more doing that stuff. Shout out to Macy, I love you. All right. We'll talk real quick about chargers. I use my iCharger X6 for charging. That's also another Kemper thing. That's what I use for my charging for all
Everything's
the
Kemper.
My reflection.
Oh, that's what I use for
you sure can.
all my charging stuff. Shout out to Jose Moreno from MWX. He's also hooking me up and trying to help me find some awesome charging cables. So currently testing these from Jose Moreno. So if you guys are wanting some custom made ones, go ahead and check them out. He also did my awesome pinboard that I don't have here because I forgot about it.
Wow, he
So
forgot
yes.
about it.
That one, and then I've also been kind of just testing the Sky RC V6 Neo. Very budget friendly. You can get it from probably a local hobby store. So shout out to RCHQ. And I've been testing that out just to kind of help out the newcomers that are new to this, like Lowe's or Mod or Superstock. That way they don't have to, spend a grip, 100 whatever it is. They can just use kind of something smaller, be able to have almost the same consistency in charging.
Yeah. Mine's normally pretty much.
And that's kind of all I got. Yeah.
But I'm done at running that
That's
one.
it from RTRC and Marka, I guess.
How did you fall? I mean, I'm running.
Anything else for me?
What is it about doing Mini Z 28 scale that keeps you in this hobby and in this community? You're really involved with the community.
Yeah.
So what is it that keeps you showing up week after week after week?
It's the people. The people keep me here. I've done drag racing. I've done the 8 scale nitro. I do a little bit of the 8 scale on road. But the community is not the same in any other hobby other than 28 scale. I think it's more nurturing and it brings you in. So many people see you struggle and do whatever they can to help you, no matter what brand car, chassis, tires you run, and it's very appealing. People just want to see the hobby grow, and they don't let egos or whatever it is that you're going through kind of affect that idea or thoughts about you, and that's what keeps me here and lets me be kind of very involved in the 128 scale community. It's the people that are involved, like all the hobbies that are involved, like RCHQ, Park Lane Hobbies, Iron City Hobbies now coming up, all the small clubs, like I wouldn't say small, but Corey has like 2 stores he does Mini Z on. It's very big over there, 5280 Raceway.
ZRC
in Longview, they're coming up. Houston RC as well, they've been around for a long time. But the community itself is just coming up and just kind of sticking together. Everybody kind of just wants to help everybody, and that's what makes us stick around the most.
So compared to other hobbies, you are a serial hobbyist.
Yeah.
And you've done motorcycles and full-size cars, and so compared to your other hobbies, you keep coming back to RC.
Yep.
It's cheaper. It's safer.
Cheaper, safer. My wife doesn't beat me up for it. The people are nicer.
Yeah.
There's not so much drama. There's some drama. In every hobby, there's some sort of drama. But it's definitely not as big and aggressive as every other hobby out there. Plus, I travel a lot more. This is probably the best part about it. You get to see different parts of the country that you really don't whenever you do bigger scale stuff unless you have that much more money. So my cost has gone definitely in half going from motorcycles, one-on-one motorcycles or one-on-one cars to 28. I'm able to just kind of have a simple bag with all my stuff in it. I don't need a truck or a trailer, and just kind of just fly wherever I want. Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody else here has a question.
Anybody else have a question?
Jose?
Jose?
Daniel?
Anything?
Anything?
Kemper said good job. Thanks. I appreciate it. That's my dad, by the way. If y'all didn't know, he just never came back from getting milk. He finally came back after like 30 years. That's all right. No, I'm great. Good job.
Andrew Albertson says, does Kemper cheat? Does Kemper cheat?
That is all we do here.
At 4:00 we have a whole clinic about Kemper's cheating.
That is very true. Tune in at 4:00. RCHQ is hosting a reflex racing clinic, and 30 minutes of it is Chris Kemper talking about how to cheat when to cheat, which is all the time. See you in PA. Yes, I'll see you in PA next weekend. AJC. Constantly. Why did I choose RTRC? The people. the team itself, the person who runs the program, the manager, the owner, the other drivers. Chassis wise, it was a lot simpler for me being new and trying to compete in a class where you had to know what droop does, what camber does, uh, what tires, ride height, spring change. Having to know what each of those things do, it was a lot simpler for me to identify that with the RTRC rather than any other brand of car. I'm not saying they're not good cars, because they're really good cars. It was easier for me to grasp what each change did on this car. And my consistency went up probably 10-15% changing to this car because I was able to notify the changes a lot quicker than I was with other cars. So that was my main reason on the chassis itself. It's just an easier car for me to learn on personally, and for me to work on and stuff like that. That was my main reason. You can cheat in mod, yes, you can. That's why we're all cheaters. Cool. I think that's it.
Yeah.
That's all.
I think
Shout
we're
out to
good.
Marka. Marka. Oh, by the way, Marka is growing efficiently and very, very, very much in the U.S. Shout out to Grant Boyd. He just got picked up. And we're trying to develop front tires for you guys in the U.S. because our front tires in the U.S. that we like to use are a little harder, sure, than what in Europe they like to use. So keep on the lookout. We are doing some prototype front testing. As of right now, the V4 F15s are really, really good. V4 F20s are really, really good. If you guys want to try those out. Not going to speak too much about it of the front tires, just because we're RCHQ. They're very, very big partnership with PN Racing. So shout out to PN Racing and Grant and Philip. You guys are awesome as well. So yeah, keep an eye out on that. We're working on front tires for Marka, and as soon as we find something, we'll be posting it. Cool.
Andrew said, hope to see y'all soon.
Hope to see y'all soon. Yep. And that's it for me. My name is Alex Soto with RTRC, Marka, RCHQ 3 Cap, and I appreciate you joining.